Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the 608 SoundCheck. Today we've got a great show for you. I'm bringing on Ryan Davis, who's a La Crosse area musician specializing in country, Americana, folk type stuff. He's got a new project that he just came out with called the Campfire Sessions, which we'll be talking about, and just kind of diving a little bit into what makes music so amazing and magical. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the first ever episode of the 608 SoundCheck. Thanks. So, Ryan, thanks for joining me today on the 608 SoundCheck. Good to have you out. Good to meet you face to face. We kind of been talking for a while behind the scenes. So, this is kind of a interesting thing. We are at a park, as you can see, but it's not the original park that we wanted to be at. We originally planned to be at a different park, and we didn't really look into too much how to book it or anything. It's very much informal, like, hey, I'll meet you at this park. And then we realized that there's like a bridal or not a baby shower. Yeah. There was a baby shower going on, and it's just like, okay, so we're at a different park now, and it's still beautiful, and we're still living out here in the La Crosse area, looking fine. So thank you for the flexibility and all that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So just kind of like what the show is and what we want to get out of this is meeting with La Crosse's musicians, seeing what they do, seeing what drives them and stuff like that. So do you want to give just like a little bit of a background on yourself and what it is that you do and that kind of thing?
Well, so I grew up in the La Crosse area. At 24, I moved away, went to Florida, spent a year there, moved down to Kentucky, and spent 13 years there. I just moved back in May, and family and friends are here, and it's just home. So it's good to be back. I haven't played that many gigs, maybe 5 or so, and did an open mic at the Root Note, and that was a lot of fun. With the new job, I'm constantly changing schedules for training, so it's hard to book things out and get all of that set in stone, but that should be calming down here pretty quick, so hopefully I'll be playing out again soon.
Nice. If you had to describe like what it is that you do as a like what is your music, right? Like what do you do as a musician?
Right now, mostly acoustic, Americana, some country type stuff. I would really love to start a band, but I would hate to bring in anyone into my crazy schedule and get anybody to agree to do something and then be like, guess what, I'm unavailable. Yeah. So kind of waiting on that, but I would really love to start a band and get out there because it's a lot more fun playing with people.
For sure, yeah. What kind of band do you envision starting?
Oh, man. It's always kind of been my thing where I typically tend to stick towards country-type Americana music, but I love to throw in, classic rock covers here and there, a little bit of everything, 90s country, some of the newer stuff. I'll throw in a pop song here and there just to keep things interesting. I love when I'm up there playing and I all of a sudden start a song and people aren't expecting it. A lot of cover bands will go out there and you're hearing the same, 20, 30 songs from one band to another, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to try to keep things a little bit more off the cuff and unexpected.
Yeah, we definitely, my band Slid, we've played a couple covers, and we always try to throw in, like, our singer, guitar player, Brian, he's big into, like, a lot of that sort of, like, 80s, 90s, like, alternative garage rock kind of stuff. So we'll pull out, like, an Uncle Tupelo cover, and, like, a lot of people are like, what is it? But it's just, like, a super fun song. Yeah. And I definitely feel you on that.
They're going fast.
It's like they know we're here.
Yeah. We got a show.
So just kind of expanding more into that, like, so you do acoustic stuff, Americana stuff. Do you, like, write your own music then? Do you do, you said you do covers and write your own stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So I do write a little bit of my own music. I've only got 3 or 4 songs that I play out right now that are originals. I've written probably close to 30 or 40 songs now. A lot of the early writing was less than great, so I'm glad I had that experience and got that out of my system, but I really enjoy just kind of throwing out songs that tend to be, have an element of fiction to them or something more general, so they're a little bit more timeless, at least for me to play them. It just keeps things a little bit more interesting for me.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. Going a little bit more into like songwriting. So you said like 3 or so that you play out.
Yeah.
What are some of the like driving factors behind, like, I know you said you want to keep it a little bit timeless, but like, can you go into some of your like writing methods and how you get to where the songs come from and that sort of thing? Yeah.
So far I'm experiencing a lot of the songwriting is coming from shows that I watch, movies, stuff like that. I've got a song that a lot of people characterize as, loss of love song, called Already Gone, and I actually wrote it after watching a series called Dexter, and I got to the last episode and I was like, man, what must he be thinking right now? And so I wrote the song kind of from his perspective, and it's not about anything personal, so I feel like 2 years from now I can still play that song, not have any ties to it directly, and have no problem playing it. I've got another song, a friend and I were talking, and I stole a line out of that song from her, but the rest of the song came from a show called The Sinner that I was watching at the time. And the premise of that show is that he's a murder detective. And I was thinking, well, Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire, even Chris Stapleton, they all have these real dark murder songs kind of sprinkled throughout all of their other stuff, and I always kind of enjoyed that. So kind of threw that in there, and there's another show that I took inspiration from called Maid, where a single mother was trying to escape an abusive relationship, and so that's kind of where that song came from, and that was Blood on Her Hands. And then the third one that I play is called I've Got Your Back. And in 2016, I lost a cousin to a battle with mental health. And I didn't know him well. We had met maybe 5 times or so over the course of my life. And him and his family lived in Oklahoma. So when I sat down to write that song, I didn't sit down intending to write a song, but I just had a thought pop in my head, what must they have been feeling leading up to that? And that's kind of where the song originated. But as I finished it up and started playing it, I was like, that's kind of the same way I feel when I ask a family member or a friend, hey, how are you doing? Knowing that they might be struggling. And their response is, I'm good, or I'm okay, and then they just kind of shut down. And, that's difficult from a point of view of being a person that cares for that person, and wants to help. So that's kind of where that song came about. But again, none of the 3 are really about anything super specific, which makes them a lot easier to digest for me to keep playing. And I have a feeling I'll be able to play all 3 of them, years to come, and be completely okay with it.
Yeah. I love that we kind of talked a little bit before at the previous location while we were waiting to see what was going on. But we kind of talked a little bit about like that idea of you don't have to write songs that are about your life. I feel like a lot of people get stuck on that notion of like, I got to write about me because that's, like it's so personal and it's whatever. Yeah. But like, you don't have to. You can really like, I love the way you say that you like embody a character and tell a song from their perspective. Yeah. I think that's really, really cool, and just something that I think more people should look into in terms of songwriting, because I struggle with that a lot. Like I said I wanted to always write about me, but I feel like I don't have a lot of interesting stuff going. Like I didn't have any super big heartbreaks or
Right.
and being able to tell a story is still what is the fundamental of a song, I think. And embodying that other character to tell that story, I think, is really cool.
Yeah, and then the neat thing about it, too, from a songwriter perspective, is it really helps when you have writer's block and you're like, I want to write something, I'm feeling creative, but I don't know what to write about. If you put yourself into someone else's shoes, even if it's a person that doesn't exist and they're just on screen, I mean, that gives you a lot more material to work with, too. And I found when I was writing initially, when I first started, it was all personal stuff, and it was early writing and it wasn't good, but then all of my songs kind of started to sound the same as I was going through, kind of the same event, and I was writing multiple songs, so it helped me get out of that too.
Yeah, for sure. So I kind of wanted to delve a little bit into, you have some stuff out that people can listen. You can hear these songs out. What can you tell me about that? So this kind of ties it back. I feel like everything about this episode goes back to this damn park that we tried. But you just recently put out a video called Campfire Sessions where you sat down and recorded those 3 that you really like a lot, and then a couple of covers. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I've always kind of looked at music not just for the audio, but I've always loved the scene that it creates, the scene that people play it in. Some of my favorite musicians and bands, there's a whole atmosphere about the songs that they're performing. Their stage setup is all, very well planned out. And I've always liked the idea of just kind of sitting around a campfire and playing songs. So that's kind of what that was about. And the covers that I played, I think, kind of led into some of the originals. So that's kind of the whole premise behind it. I don't have anything up on the streaming platforms yet. I will probably try to record some more studio quality type stuff and get that up soon. But as far as seeing that, I've got it up on YouTube. And it's 5 or 6 songs. Just, I think it's like 18 or 19 minutes. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to create a whole scene and go from there.
Cool. And I'll probably have that linked down so
great.
people can check it out too.
You.
On that note of like more stuff to come, sort of that, do you have, you've got those 3 that you really like. Is there anything else in the chamber that people may not have heard yet that you're kind of working on and hope to get out soon?
If you were to scroll through the notes section of my phone, you would find probably 5 or 6 songs that I've started, and I just kind of chip away at them as thoughts come. I don't try to force anything. As I'm feeling creative and as I'm in the headspace for each particular song, that's when I work on it. So eventually I'll probably have some more stuff. Right now I don't have anything not completed. But yeah, I'd like to keep working on that and have some stuff out soon, hopefully.
We just went through a process of recording an EP, and it's 5 tracks, and I feel like it was like, that's a lot. Like the idea of doing like a full length or something like that is so
daunting.
It is. It's so much work that goes into crafting even just a couple of songs and getting them where you want them.
And even with just 3, and there's one in particular that I really want to get out there because there's a few people that have asked for it. But, in my head, when I'm just playing it acoustically, I can hear kind of what it would sound like with a full band. So I'm trying to kind of map out the different guitar parts. And, I talked about wanting to create a scene, and I love music that kind of has an atmosphere about it, even just through the audio. So, I don't get super excited about a lot of real flashy guitar playing or real flashy drumming or anything, but just as it all works together, if it creates an overall picture that can take somebody to a different place or put them in the setting of the song, that's kind of what I'm after. So that's the plan, but it is super, super daunting. Because, even a simple song, you're thinking you probably got vocals, rhythm guitar, bass, drums. You might add in a lead guitar or another instrument. And when you're trying to perfect all of those, it very quickly becomes daunting.
Yeah. So. And you find out in the process that you want to add more things, or let's do a vocal harmony here, or let's do a shaker or an extra percussion or something like that, and it just kind of you come out with a completely different feeling song than you went in with. I feel like a lot of the times, and that's kind of cool though about that. The studio I feel like is the best place to write music for me because it just you're there and the creative juices are flowing, and it's always a good time. It's stressful, but it's good.
It is, yeah. And it's a nice getaway from the rest of life. Mm-hmm. You can just kind of dive into the music, and that's all you're thinking about while you're doing it, which is a great stress reliever, but still very daunting.
Do you have any sort of big inspirations when it comes to when you sit down and write music? Do you have people that you sort of try to emulate at all, or take elements from in your own stuff?
Yeah. I'm a huge Jason Isbell fan. And where I kind of got the idea of taking from either other people's stories or, a TV show, movie, whatever it may be, a book, it was from him. And if you listen to his songs, a lot of his songs you can tell are not about his life. So from a songwriting standpoint, I really love his approach. I think from a guitar standpoint, I tend to gravitate towards Dave Matthews. And honestly, he was the reason why I started playing guitar, or what kept me interested while I was learning. Just because, generally speaking, most of his songs don't have just simple strumming of cowboy chords. There's usually some noodling going on throughout the course of the song, or at least interesting chords. And little known fact about me, I'm terrible at keeping a rhythm. So if I'm just strumming chords, it's probably not going to work out super well. So I try to keep my left hand busy as much as possible when I'm writing, and that's really it. Growing up, my first favorite musician was Elvis Presley. There was a movie called Heartbreak Hotel David Keith starred in, and it came out in 89, I think. So I was 3 or 4, and I absolutely loved that movie and became a big Elvis fan. And after that, I made my parents, this was back in the olden days when they had VHSs. I made my parents record every Elvis movie that came on TV. We had a bunch of albums. And then I would say probably 8 or 9 years old, I became a real big Garth Brooks fan.
Okay, yep.
And that was just through digging through their cassettes at the time. Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, I remember for years, every Christmas I would get a new Garth Brooks album. And then I think Dave Matthews Band came around sometime 7th or 8th grade. And yeah, I just kind of pull from all of them. Another big inspiration to me doesn't really lend itself as much to individual songwriting, but just as far as singing, I didn't publicly sing at all until about 2 years ago because I didn't know how to, and I still don't. There's
Does anybody know how to sing, really?
Well, there was I was super frustrated because I couldn't figure out what I was doing at all. And I at least now have myself to a spot where I feel like I can stumble through some things depending on what the song is. There are other songs where, friends will request that I play a certain song and I listen to it and I'm like, I would love to.
Yeah.
There is no way
I know,
that I can
feel that
do
too.
that.
Uh-huh.
But
they put on like a Billy String song and they're like, can you play this on guitar?
Yeah.
I'm like, brother, no.
a recent one was Feels Like Today by Rascal Flatts.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
love Rascal Flatts, love that song.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No.
I tried working it out on guitar and got the guitar part to a point where I was pretty happy with it, and then I got to the vocals and I was like, I can't hang with Gary LeVox.
No. He's got a crazy voice.
Yeah. So sorry to disappoint the person that requested that, but it's probably not going to happen, at least not anytime soon. But yeah, I would like to do vocal coaching and stuff because there's some specific things I want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But, going back to that point, there was an interview with Ed Sheeran on the Jonathan Ross show, I think.
Oh, I'm familiar with the one you're about to talk about.
Yeah, and he said, when people say, "Oh, you're so talented, you're born with natural talent," he said, "Nope, it's something you have to work on."
Uh-huh.
And then he played a little clip of a song that he did when I think he was 14 years old, and it was absolutely terrible, and so terrible, in fact, that I was like, I sound exactly like that. So I would watch that little 2-minute clip of him playing that. I would watch that probably once a week for a couple of years.
Oh, man.
And just as kind of inspiration.
Yeah.
And he taught himself how to sing. He taught himself how to harmonize. He taught himself vocal control. And at some point I would like to get there. But, those are kind of my inspirations, at least for now.
Yeah, I love that. That's so, like, there's so much to that, and I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like I ask people that question.
Hi.
Nice. I feel like I ask people that question sometimes, and they're like, they don't have a lot of, like, they're like, I don't know, I just, like, grew up listening to Guns N' Roses or something, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine, that's cool, but I love
Yeah.
when people have sort of, like, a deeper connection like that.
Yeah. I didn't grow up in a musical family, but I grew up in a family that loves music. So early influences, a lot of 90s country. We had, in the house, we would have everything from 90s country to Journey to The Temptations, Michael Jackson, just all over the place. I really loved, there was a movie called Stand By Me, and they had Stand By Me by Ben E. King as the main song, and I fell in love with that song. So early soul and early, Motown stuff is a little bit of an influence, and yeah, it's just all over the place. But yeah, that I try to take a little bit of inspiration from everywhere.
Yeah. I feel like I grew up, like, listening to a bunch of music, same sort of thing, like, a different genres and influences and stuff like that, and there'd be so many times where, like, I would hear a new band or something, and I'm like, this is what I want my music to sound like. And then I get another person that's a completely different style, and I'm like, this is what I want my music to sound like.
So what's cool about that is when you get to a point where you're able to put music out of your own, you can take bits and pieces from each one, and it becomes your own because no one else is doing that particular combination. But that's one of the coolest things about music, and really anything creative, is you can take elements from anywhere, create something that you enjoy, and then put it out into the world, which is cool.
Yeah. There's a guy, this is a little bit kind of out there, but there's a guy on social media, and he does, like, he releases music too, and he plays out. But his name is, I think his artist name is Zepp, Z-E-P. Okay. And he puts out, like, stuff on TikTok and whatever else of just, like, short clips of him, like, he'll, like, super distort, like, a drum sound and use that as, like, a kick drum.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
He'll kind of, like, stretch out a piece of, like, duct tape and pluck it and get, like, different notes out of it.
That's cool.
And it's, like, such a cool, like, you can really, like, people that use that sort of, like, well, it's all talent. It's all like,
Yeah.
no, man, you just do it. And you just like,
just messing around with things. Yeah.
Music is such a cool way to like express yourself, and you don't have to be like a guitar god or what. You can do music, and any music that you put out is art. I talk about that with a lot of people, like art in general. You know, like people think that like if you're a painter, you got to paint like photorealistic to be a good painter. It's like, no, if you put paint on paper, you're a painter. Yeah. What you create is unique, and it's something that only you can do, or it's for sure. It's your own unique style. And I feel the same way about music. Yeah. There's like like I love you know who Wesley Willis is? I don't. So he's like a Chicago legend. He passed away many years ago, unfortunately, but he had I believe he was schizophrenic, bipolar. Okay. Just a couple of like, but he had some really interesting, like he brought this, I can't remember the brand name of keyboard around, but he had this like Casio keyboard that he would take with, and he would play like the pre-programmed beats on it. Oh, okay. And he would do like songs over the top of it. And they were all like just the most, there's one that really got popular in like meme culture, Rock and Roll McDonald's. Okay. Rock and Roll McDonald's. And he just like talks about, and it's like, that's awesome. Kind of an outlook on like overconsumption, but like through his lens. And it's like, people listen to that at first glance if you're not like deeply in tune with the music, and then people will be like, this is terrible, like what is this? But then you find out like this guy was like a mad cool painter and like a just like artistic person all around, and he created music. He was in like a punk band in California for a while. Awesome. It's just like I love stuff like that. It's such a unique, like music is everywhere and everything, and I just love it.
And I find it seems like really anybody that is real creative in something usually has more than one creative outlet. And that's certainly true for me. I mean, I love any form of creative art, music, drawing, painting, all of it. And I want to take all of it in. So I love that I'm not the only one.
All right, Ryan. Well, thanks for coming in and talking music. And I just love having conversations like this and just kind of mind melding with fellow musicians and the outlook of music as a whole. You are the first episode officially of the 608 Soundcheck. So,
well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming out and giving it a whirl. And I hope that this episode is a good pioneering episode, and people can really see like what it is that we're doing out here.
Well, when it makes it to 1 million downloads, when your podcast is just taking off, don't forget about me.
When I'm sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends and Norton VPN and whatever else.
Absolutely. Purple mattresses.
Purple mattresses. All right. That'll do it for us. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of the 608 Soundcheck.
Why do you look so upset when you see that door? What could be a new day seems to strike a chord. We can sit for a while. I'll be your stand-up act. We can talk for a while. Hope you know I've got your back. I know things aren't easy, they hardly ever are. Let me take the weight away. I gave you all my heart. least enough to count. We can sit for a while. I'll be your stand-up bed. We can talk for a while. Hope you know I've got your back. We can sit for a while. Hope you know I've got your back.